Hello to everyone viewing the following presentation. My name is Ben Kumpula, and this is my thesis project, Fargo Growing Upward, a Neon Living Wall. Living walls are more than vertically planted vegetation. A living wall can become an art installation impacting the structure it's attached to, as well as the surrounding spaces. Mostly it affects people, how they interact both socially and mentally. These effects are hard to quantify, but today are needed more than ever. Living walls can bring people together, promote physical, social, and mental health in a dense urban environment where space is limited, yet they are successful. Knowing this, I wanted to develop a living wall design for our region that can answer the challenges posed by weather and environmental extremes that we see. This thesis project explores the emotional effects and connections humans have with nature through the study of existing living walls. The development of a design model can promote natural aesthetics and emotional characteristics natural forms have for the integration into the urban landscape in downtown Fargo, North Dakota. A part of the research portion was case studies. This was used to analyze existing living walls, their systems that were used, and surrounding aspects as far as pedestrian access, street size, if there was a plaza, those types of things that would take into consideration why these systems were used. First case study is in Paris. This one's not far from the Eiffel Tower. It uses a tray system that's built into the structure of the actual building. This tray system allows for dense plants to be planted together tightly, but more of in a natural way. It definitely is used to promote the museum as well as promote access and pedestrian access along the streetscape. The second case study is along a transit building where they use a tray system to break up the large slab that's there to hopefully distract from the sound as well as the visual presence of this structure. And the third case study is in Colombia, where it uses a grate system as it traverses up a large story apartment building. Though there's not plazas directly around it, this one is more for distant views and visual appreciation from the surrounding buildings to it. Another portion of my research was understanding the living wall systems that are used today, of which there are many different brands and manufacturers and styles. There are only 4 types that are used prominently today. Those are panel, pocket, tray, and hydroponic. For this project, panel and tray systems will be used, thanks to their versatility and their flexibility. Tray systems, for example, the planters can be moved around based on the size of plant. Panel systems also have the benefit of being stacked together to allow for added strength for a climbing plant. So while Fargo may seem like a challenging place for a living wall to be placed and designed for, it is actually a growing opportunity thanks to its population increase. Fargo has a range of completed to just starting projects that have caused growth and changes to the area. Examples of these are the Sanford Hospital, Fargo City Hall, and Block 9. These projects all share a development upward. Upon searching downtown Fargo for a potential site, it became clear that there's a lot of opportunities to make connections between the different spaces, the different buildings, and the different people that are around downtown Fargo, including from across the river in Moorhead, as well as using Main Street going east and west, and also University going north and south. Making this opportunity to make these connections even stronger, finding the AT&T building being a perfect site for a living wall created the opportunity for not only one living wall, but possibly multiple. Located at the corner of 1st Avenue North and 4th Street North, the AT&T building has 5 unique sides to it. Being adjacent to the library, the Civic Center, the Civic Plaza, and the Radisson Hotel, while being within walking distance to Broadway, provided an opportunity for this to be a prime location for not just one living wall, but multiple. On doing a site analysis of the building, it became clear that it was a strong geometrical grid form throughout the whole structure. This provided opportunity to introduce a living wall that would not just distract from the AT&T building and its existing form, but actually complement it. Visually, the AT&T building is not consistent on all 5 sides of the building. This provides interesting opportunities to create a living wall that is varying in design as it moves along the building for each face. The environmental factors for each face are interesting as well. On the south side, it's full sun, whereas on the north side, it's almost fully shade. This provides unique challenges when it comes to plant selection on the north side, but also provides a lush opportunity for plants on the south side. Doing a view analysis of the AT&T building provided answers of how many people could actually see it and from where. Being able to be seen from roughly a quarter-mile diameter from nearly any direction, this had opportunities to connect to Broadway and even to Moorhead. Looking at the West View corridor, this wall can be seen all the way from Broadway and even further down on 2nd Avenue North. Having the opportunity to engage both Block 9 Plaza with the Civic Plaza on the east side provides an opportunity that this can be a statement and a connecting point for these 2 spaces. The North View, even though it is the most shaded, provides opportunities for it to be beneficial to the Radisson Hotel, as well as the Fargo Civic Center further up 4th Street North. The view to the east is the strongest of all the views, as it has the most potential and the longest distance to which it can actually be seen in its existing form right now. Being able to impact the Fargo City Hall, the Civic Center, as well as the Fargo Public Library, this wall provides opportunities to create the green network. And finally, the South View, which connects to the Metro Area Transit Center. Also being the one wall with the most sun, this provides an opportunity for it to be the most lavish wall. The design concept for this project came from understanding why aesthetics matter and how you can actually design for them. For instance, some of the emotions that I wanted to design for were surprised, amazed, even excited, or even energetic. And those were guiding principles in why I wanted to develop a connection between each individual wall, even though they had different environmental challenges. For instance, the south side was more playful because of its south-facing, full sun environmental characteristics, whereas the neon or the north side would have to kind of convey this whole different ideal of what it could be. Same thing for the street art. It's like, because it's next to the graffiti wall that's on the south or on the west side, that posed a challenge of what to put there that was fitting with its environment. So the idea to unify the building as a whole while keeping each individual wall unique came from the bead maze that kids play with. It's very playful, it's colorful, it's aesthetically appealing because of the colors, the shapes, the turns, the playfulness with it. And how to translate that into something that can have a benefit all on its own without any plants is to kind of create that same thing, but more of in a ribbon that ties in the whole design together from one wall all the way around to the next. So from Broadway, we get to see our access to the graffiti wall, as well as our first peek of the neon wall. The neon wall was the north side that really focused on grabbing people's attention by having a large visual statement at the top corner where people could actually be drawn to it, but also pulled around to the graffiti wall in the alley. While having this ribbon kind of tie around and broken apart kind of creates symbolism as well as imagery that's kind of playful to look at and also fun for when the plants grow and die back and the seasons change. It's more aesthetically interesting to see this multiple times. Also being a neon wall, this one is really shaded, so having the night element is very important for this wall. As we continue to turn around the building, we see the continuation of the ribbon, but also change in how it actually interacts with the building itself, and also how the garden changes. This being the civic garden, this is changing to something that's more grand because of the statement it makes. The scale's larger because of the view corridors it has to go through. This is being seen a quarter mile away all the way over to Moorhead. So this needs to be a visual statement. So the scale's a lot larger as well as broken up so that it again becomes more interesting. As we look at the Civic Garden planting plan, we see that there's a lot of different elements in here as far as how many plants go in here. For each one of these pots that you see, it's around 7,000 to 9,000 plants that can be planted on here depending upon the size. Though this may change based on availability of the different types of plants or where each individual plant would go, each color kind of marks where they would actually be placed so that it looks full and also kind of creates a three-dimensional look and depth. Moving along to the Discovery Garden, we see that there's an opportunity here for it to be viewed from the library, as well as be able to be customizable to certain looks that the library wants to evoke as well. This can be very customizable and also laid out so that it has different aesthetic appeal. As we move around the corner to the south side, to the Wildflower Garden, we can see that the ribbon changes once again, and this is to provide an opportunity for it to convey another emotion, as well as be more towards that theme of playfulness and wildflowers, something growing and continuing along. And finally, when we move to the south side, we see the Wildflower Garden. The ribbon here is coming across and becoming more natural, more of a growth of a natural plant itself, where it reaches across and into the alley, fully embracing the building itself and tying in everything together. In closing, Fargo can have a living wall, and it can be successful to impact the people that visit it, as well as the spaces around it, and also be used as a connecting point and a linkage to existing spaces that people use in an urban setting. And thank you for viewing this presentation.